You know this one. The fairy godmother, the pumpkin, the glass slipper. A girl sweeping cinders, a wave of a wand, and by midnight she's dancing with a prince. That version was written by a French courtier in 1697, and it's the one Disney built on 300 years later. Before him, people told it differently. In the older story, nobody waves a wand. There's a dead woman under a hazel tree, two white doves doing what she can't do anymore, and two sisters kneeling in a back room with a knife, cutting pieces off their own feet to get them into a golden shoe. That's the one we're telling tonight. It starts in a small house with a garden, years before anybody called her Cinderella. Her mother taught her the plants out there, what to cut back, what to leave alone, how to keep the whole thing breathing through a winter. Evenings, the two of them sat by the fire, and her mother worked her hair into braids. A good heart, she used to say, is a fire no cold house can put out. There wasn't much money in that house. The girl never noticed. Then came the winter her mother got sick and didn't get better. At the end, she called her daughter over to the bed and made her a promise. "Be good," she said, "and be true. Wherever I end up, I'll be looking down at you, and I won't be far." Then she was gone. They buried her at the bottom of the garden. The girl went out to the grave every morning and every evening and cried, and nobody could talk her into stopping. Her father was a merchant, gone most of the year on the roads, and no use at all with a grieving child. Inside a year he'd married again, a widow with a hard, handsome face and two grown daughters of her own. He told himself he'd given the girl a mother back, and whenever he was standing in the room, his new wife was kind to her. He believed it. Believing it was easier than looking. It came on slowly, a sharp word while he was away. One chore, then another, then every chore in the house. Her good dresses went into a chest, and the chest got locked. Her bed went to one of the sisters. She got a straw mattress by the kitchen fire. The sisters made a game of it. They'd tip a bowl of lentils into the ashes and stand over her laughing while she picked them out, one at a time. She slept in the cinders because that hearth was the only warm thing left in the house, and she came up grey with ash every morning. That's where the name came from, Cinderella, the girl out of the ashes. Her father never said a word about any of it. Women's quarrels, he called it, not his business. He'd come in off the road, sit down at his own table, and look straight past her. The one man who could have stopped it decided it was easier not to see it. One year he was leaving for the fair and asked the three of them what he should bring back. "Silk," said the first. "Pearls," said the second. Cinderella asked for the first branch that knocked his hat off on the road home. Hazel had been her mother's tree. Coming back, a hazel branch caught the brim and put his hat in the dirt. He broke it off and carried it to her. Of everything in his saddlebags that day, that twig was the only thing he gave in love. She took it out to the grave and pushed it into the ground. She had nothing to water it with, so she watered it herself. Morning and evening out there crying on it, and it grew, season on season, until there was a hazel tree standing over her mother. Two white doves came and nested in the branches. They'd sit over her while she cried. When she spoke, they answered. After a while, she stopped being able to tell where her mother ended and those birds began. Whatever she asked for under that tree, they dropped it into her hands. It was the only help she had in the world, and it came up out of a grave. Then the king announced a festival, 3 nights of it, so his son could look over every girl in the kingdom and choose one. The sisters had her scrubbing them and lacing them and pinning their hair, and slapped her hands when she was slow with it. "Let me come too," she said. Her stepmother laughed. Then she took a bowl of lentils and poured it into the fireplace. 2 hours, she said. "Get them all out of the ash and you can come." Cinderella went to the back door and called out into the dark. Her mother's doves came first, and half the birds in the sky came behind them, and they had every good seed out of that ash with an hour to spare. Her stepmother looked at the full bowl, then she tipped it straight back into the cinders. "You've got no dress," she said. "You'd shame us." And the coach left without her. When the house was empty, she went out to the tree. "Shake and shiver, little tree," she said. "Throw gold and silver down on me." And the branches came down heavy with a dress of silver and gold, and 2 slippers woven out of gold. No fairy, no wand. Her mother's tree, doing what her mother would have done. It wasn't a masked ball. She walked in with her own face showing. Nobody knew her. The room went quiet when she came through the doors. People started asking around who she was. A princess from somewhere abroad, they decided. She had to be. Not one of them thought to look for the cinder girl inside her, and her own two sisters stared straight at her and saw a lady too grand to speak to. The prince had spent 2 nights being polite to the daughters of his father's court. Then he looked up and saw her in the doorway and crossed the entire room to get to her, past every other girl in it. He took her hand and didn't give it back, danced with nobody else. "This one's mine," he told anyone who came near. He asked her name. She smiled at him. He asked where she lived. He got nothing, and the less she gave him, the worse he wanted her. When she ran for home, he went after her, and she was faster. The first night she got up into the dovecote and disappeared. He fetched an axe and split the thing open. Empty. The second night she climbed a pear tree. He cut the tree down. Nothing in it. By then, whatever this was had stopped looking like courtship. So on the third night he had every step of the great staircase painted with black pitch. She ran for the door, and her left shoe stuck fast and came off her foot. One slipper, solid gold, standing there on the stair. He picked it up and went looking for the foot that fit it. "Whoever this shoe fits," he said, "is the one I marry." And he carried it house to house until he came to hers. Her stepmother took the shoe into a back room and put a knife into her elder daughter's hand. "It won't go on," she told her, "so take the toe off. Once you're queen, you'll never walk anywhere again." The girl did it, forced her foot down into the gold with the blood still coming, held her face steady, and went out to him smiling. He lifted her onto his horse. But the road home went past the hazel tree, and the 2 doves came up off the branches after him. "Turn around, turn around. There's blood in the shoe. The shoe's too small. The right girl is still back at the house." He looked down at her foot. Red was coming up over the gold. He turned the horse around, so the knife went to the younger sister. "Your toes are fine," her mother told her. "Take the heel." She did it too, rode out, same tree, same birds, same red seeping through the gold. He brought her back as well. So they went and fetched the girl out of the kitchen. She put her foot in, and the gold closed round it like it had been made on her, not a drop of blood in it. The 2 doves came down onto her shoulders. "This one," they sang, "this is the bride." At the wedding, the 2 sisters pushed in close beside her, smiling, wanting their share of it. The doves came down and took their eyes, one each going in, one each coming out, blind for the rest of their lives. Her mother settling up. So where does the fairy godmother come from? Not the old story. She isn't in it anywhere. Look at where the help actually comes from instead. 1,000 years before the Grimms, Tang dynasty China was telling this about a girl named Ye Xian. Her only friend was a fish with gold eyes, and the fish was her mother. Her stepmother caught it, cooked it, and ate it for dinner. The bones still worked. The bones dressed her for the festival. It's always the dead mother. The fish, the tree, the doves. Whatever power that girl had came from her own mother, and it came up out of the ground. Go back further and it gets worse. Naples, 1634. Cinderella is a girl called Zezolla, and the governess she trusts talks her into murder, tells her to lean into a heavy chest and drop the lid on her stepmother's neck. She does it. Then the governess marries her father, and turns out worse than the woman she helped kill. Even that far back, the story already knew something. The one promising to save you is sometimes the one who buries you. Then Perrault sits down in 1697 and writes the version you grew up on. First thing he does is take the mother out. The grave goes, the tree goes. In her place he puts a fairy godmother, a stranger with a wand, who hands the girl her magic and never has to know the first thing about her grief. He changed the shoe too. In the old story it's gold. Perrault made it glass. Beautiful, breakable, and it doesn't stretch, so only 1 foot in the world will ever go into it. And he changed the ending. In the old one, the sisters are blinded, and the account gets settled. In Perrault's, Cinderella forgives them, moves them into the palace, and marries them off to noblemen. It sounds gracious. Read it again. He took a story about somebody finally paying for what they'd done and turned it into a set of instructions for girls. Be sweet, be patient, forgive the people hurting you, and somebody important will come and lift you out of it. Put up with it, and you'll get chosen. Disney inherited that hole and never looked at it twice. And then there's the shoe itself. Ask why this entire story hangs on a foot being small enough. Ye Xian's slipper is tiny and gold, and that story comes out of the country that went on to bind women's feet, breaking the bones in little girls to keep them small enough to want. That's what those sisters worked out in the back room with the knife. If you want to be chosen, You cut off whatever doesn't fit. The old tellers never hid that part. They made you sit there and listen to the blood fill up the shoe. We still do it. We've just got nicer words for it now. So tell me down in the comments. In the oldest ending, the sisters go blind and nobody forgives anybody. In the pretty one, she forgives them and lifts them up. If you were writing it, do they pay? Does she forgive them? Should she even have to? And what's that shoe still asking you to cut off to get picked? Write her ending below. There was never a fairy in this. There was a dead woman who wouldn't stop loving her daughter and a debt that was always going to come due. The ashes weren't her punishment. They're just what she wore while she waited. Next, from the dark, Snow White, and the queen who was made to dance in red-hot iron shoes until she fell down dead.